Oh my God. Good stuff? Good stuff. You have to Chullin?
Where's Nachman when we need him?
He woke up late, he's diving in.
What?
He woke up late, he's diving in.
Really? Okay. Today's Daf Nun Beis. We're starting from the first word on top. Chol. Smack in the middle of a sentence, smack in the middle of a sentence. We said there's about 27 different types of material that a bird can land on and break its bones, not break its bones. We're continuing with number 16. Choil. There's different types of sand. There's chol adak, thin sand, loy chayshinon, it doesn't break the bird's bones. Choil hagas, chayshinon, but if it's thicker, it's a problem. Avak, drochim chayshinon, dust of the ways is a problem. Tivna, straw, va'ovid bizgo, you made a bale out of the straw, chayshinon, it'll hurt the animal. Loy ovid bizgo, but just straw without a bale, loy chayshinon. Chiti v'chol diminayu chayshinon. Now, if anybody knows of another sugya that has 27 different types of examples, please let me know. Chiti v'chol diminayu chayshinon. Wheat and everything similar to it. Says Rashi shifoin, which is hard, meaning l'chayra means that type of material, not that you make hamoitzi on it, but it's a hard material. Sa'ore v'chol diminayu chayshinon. And barley, kol mine kitniyos, ein b'hem mishum risukei varim. Kitniyos don't have a problem; they're soft. Lebar, besides min rubia, which is fenugreek. Chimtzei, peas, ein b'hem mishum risukei varim. Chivtzei, but arbes, shkoyach. You put something in there, you took something out.
We'll find out in a minute.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu shakol niyeh b'dvaroi. Put something in, yeah.
Just finish it up quickly.
So yes, how is about an hour? I got the clock's ticking. Klal l'misla. Okay, finally, here we are. We're at the end. Klal l'misla. If you want to know if you have other materials that are not mentioned here, I found one or two materials that are not mentioned here. Klal l'misla kol midi de mashrik. Ein boy mishum rizik yivarim. If it doesn't slip and slide, then it's a bad thing. If it slips and slides, then you could offset you hit the object and then you slide off of it. So it takes a little bit of the impact. Loy mashrig yesh boy mishum risuk evarim.
It doesn't mention windows. It's a thud.
Doesn't mention marbles and
Windows.
and candy, and there's a few items. Windows. Yeah, it did mention window. Window would be like that that screen that's really taut, all the way in the beginning of the sugya. A sheet that's really taut. It's like a window. I don't know. Fine. Davuk.
Why does the Gemara go from Chashinin, Loy Chashinin, and then it switches over to Risukei Ivarim?
Chayshinon means Risuk Ivarim. As I said in the beginning of the sugya, the word Chayshinon does not mean we're concerned. It means literally Risuk Ivarim. Why it goes in? Why use different lashon that I don't know, but it means the meaning is identical. Chayshinon means risuk ivar. Now, what's this davuk? So Rashi says gluda, glue. So I brought a sample. This is just for entertainment purposes only. This is what they did. I'm not kidding. They had a piece of wood and they put glue on it. Glue.
It's like a mousetrap.
It's not like a mousetrap. It is a mousetrap, and the mousetrap was not invented in our days. It was invented then. It's mufurish. It was a piece they put on the tree. I just realized that in Chicago I had a woodpecker. Would come to my house the same day, the same time. I was still, 10 o'clock in the morning, still sleeping, and I'm like, what are you doing?
I know who sent this woodpecker.
Crazy noise, and I go outside. It's in the same exact spot every day. I would shoot away, come back, and very loud noise. I went up there, put a couple of these. Never again. So, but I didn't know this in the Gemara, but that's what they used to do in the time of the Gemara. So what's going on here? The bird lands on this thing, and his wings get caught in the glue.
But wasn't it in time of the Gemara in order to eat it?
No, they were what was it? They were pests.
That was a way of catching birds to eat it.
Oh, to eat. Okay.
They
Shecht.
didn't sleep to 10.
No. The woodpeckers don't work after 7. Whatever. Bekitzer, you came just in time, Ruin. So if the wings are stuck to this thing and it falls off the tree, he's making a commotion and it falls off the tree. Now what? The question is, did the bird have a hard landing or not? 1 wing, 2 wings. Okay. Yeah. You could have it afterwards. You can have it now, actually. Here. It's yours. No, let me just finish the line here. Says the Gemara.
Put it in your folder.
Says the Gemara Dovuk. Ravashi Shari. Ravashi says it's not treif. Amei mar osar. Bechad gapo de kuli amaloi pligi de shari. If he has 1 wing to lessen the impact, not a problem. Keep pligi. Even though he falls on his head, but as he was falling, he went with 1 wing like this. So he flapped. He was able to flap because No, he has 1 wing available still to fly. Now it's a very, very weak kind of flight, but it's enough to soften the impact. That both his wings are stuck to the glue. Manda osar omalach heichenekum. The one that says it's osar, how is he going to stand up? The way I understand standing up is what pilots call a flare. Right before the landing, you go up a little bit. Like anybody that jump out of a plane here? No? So you jump, you go down really hard, and then the last second you go like this, boom. It softens the... So this bird, you'll see when birds land, they do the same thing. Right before they land, they come up a little bit. They come off the ground, and it's called a flare. So Mamela, he couldn't stand up. How is he going to flare? How is he going to soften his landing? Whatever, call it whatever you want. Softening the flare, softening the landing. He says, look, if the feathers are stuck to the glue, it doesn't mean that his bones aren't moving still. He could still go a little bit like this with his feathers stuck. His feathers are stuck to the glue, but he still can make some sort of motion with his wing where he could create some lift or something and soften his landing. And some people say the opposite. It doesn't make sense. If both of his wings are stuck to the glue, forget about it. He's a goner. Even in 1 wing stuck to the glue, maybe there's a mandama that says that it's still osir, it's a treif. You could fly a little bit with 1 wing. The only way you could really create a real thrust with the wing is if both wings work. If 1 wing doesn't work, then you're not going to get that arc in the wing to pull down. It's going to be a little bit, but that's not enough to...
We're not talking about a trap here. We're talking about a situation where the bird kills itself, injures itself badly. Here, it may have landed very, very softly, but got stuck to the glue because we're trying to catch birds.
No,
we don't know.
No, this glue trap is on top of a tree, right?
90% of it is a trap.
Oh, you're just saying that the trap...
The trap should...
Yeah, but we don't know. Maybe it fell on its head. Maybe it fell upside down. I was thinking also, we don't know exactly how the trap fell. The trap could help it a little bit. But look, if an animal is in a box, that doesn't help. A bird in a box is in a fula, like we have today. Those boxes that hold those chickens. So just because it had a piece of paper and fell off a tree, look, I wouldn't want this attached to me while I'm falling out of the tree. You know what I'm saying? I don't think it would help me that much. So, I don't know. Here.
He's got more wings now.
I didn't use all the glue, so you could actually use it still as a trap. Says the Gemara, V'hilchasa, betray gapi asir, bechad gapo shori. The halacha is 2 wings is asir because he cannot break its fall, but 1 wing stuck to the glue is mutter. Now, I would recommend looking in Rashi, Dibra Maska, betray gapi asir. Rashi seems to say a major chiddush in halacha here. Says Rashi, betray gapi asir, elam kein omad v'halach. If the bird got up and started walking, it's not a problem. Now he says, anytime that you need to check the animal inside, any case that we had yesterday that you do a bdika inside, that's in the previous generations, they knew how to check. We don't know how to check. You hear this? Says Rashi, I'm a chuluk on the lachs dolos. You can only be as good as you are. That every generation has its own poiskim, their own people. Yes, they're not as good as the generations before, but every generation has the right to paskin. So Akoponim Rashi says that every generation it's mutter. Now, what's very interesting is that the Shulchan Aruch brings down the halacha, the Zerua, that says that is in Rashi's generation, but in our generation, and la halacha, that's how we paskin. That we are not good enough to check. Kol Dara V'Dara is in the time of the Rishonim, when they knew how to learn, not as good as the Tanaim and the Amoraim. But in our Shvacha generation, says the Shulchan Aruch, we can't be so very, very interesting that the Ramah brings the Shulchan Aruch, everybody passing like that we don't have the rights. I just wanted to point that out.
Well, the message only if it didn't walk. Once it walked.
Yeah. In a case of bdika. What is the case? Walking, we said there's no bdika at all. In a case that there's bdika.
Only by nefila. Only by nefila.
You're talking about in general in the whole Shulchan Aruch?
All races by behemoths?
Yeah. Oh no, it says nefila drusa. When we're doing a bdika, what is a bdika? What do we check?
It fits the wings of Karen Tavonet, doesn't it? But they can't themselves.
Everybody take whatever they want to take out of this. I'm just saying over. It says in the Mishnah, Nishtabru roiv tzlo yisel. If most of the ribs broke, Tanu Rabbanon. Eidu hein roiv tzlois, sheish mikan v'sheish mikan. Oh, no, I'm asked I should bring my little pet, so I brought my pet. This is my pet cow. I was hoping that I would have more use out of it, but not really. I'm gonna on Amazon. Okay, here are the tzlois.
It's glass for $100.
These are the tzlois. I'm taking out the tzlois. Oh, the lung is falling apart. Fine. If you counted these, you'll see this 13. All animals today have 13 ribs, including goats, sheep. They have 13 ribs on each side. It's 26. The Gemara here is talking about 11 and 11. Why? As the Gemara is going to explain soon, we're only talking about the ribs that have a lot of mayach in it. It has a lot of marrow, bone marrow. Number 1 and number 13 are not included in the count. So we only have 11 ribs. 11 plus 11 is 22. What's a roiv of 22? 12. So in order for roiv to be broken, you need 12 broken ribs. Okay, says the Gemara. 6 and 6 on each side, so you have a total of 12. Oi, any kind of combination. As long as you have 12 total, you can have 1 on the right side and 11 on the other side. It's a total of 12 that makes the animal treif. Omar Ziri, umechtzon klape shidro. So Ziri just says, if this is the spine on top, the place that they broke are from the halfway point. This is the halfway line. They have to be broken on top of that line, not on the bottom part of the rib. The bottom, we don't care so much about the bottom part of the rib. That will heal. That won't make the animal treif. But the top part, okay. It has to have bone marrow. These are the type of ribs that we're talking about. The 11 large ones. Omar Ula ben Zakai Omar. Ula said, I heard from ben Zakai, Nekru beroiv tzad echad. If they were completely uprooted, so then all you need is one side. If they went completely to the top, they were nekar, then all I need is from one side. In other words, 6, one of roiv of one side, 6 from one side. Nishtabru, but if you're talking about broken ribs, then you need 12. He's arguing, and Rabbi Yochanan is saying, it doesn't matter, even nekar, even if they were uprooted completely from. Now, Here's a picture. The way ribs work is that they fit in nicely into the spine. They're not attached to the spine. There's like a little bit of they click in, so to speak.
It's a joint.
It's a joint. And memela, when the animal breathes in, breathes out, it could expand, it could move, the ribs move. So nekar would mean it's pulled out of the joint, but the spine remains whole. On my Rav. Now we're going to be discussing Rav for a little bit. Rav comes up with halacha. It's not clear what he's saying. We're going to verify what he's saying. He starts off saying, Nekrot seila v'chulyo ima. If the actual vertebrae, the spine itself, was uprooted together with the rib, treifa. If I have one rib, but it was uprooted with the spine, the vertebrae, the whole chulya, the whole round thing here, popped out, the animal's a goner. One rib, one chulya. No. It came off nicely off the spinal cord without damaging the spinal cord. But now this animal has a back missing a whole link. Treif. Amle Rav Kahana v'Ravasi l'Rav. We have to hold cup here. Rav Kahana and Ravasi tell Rav, Nekrot seilo mikan v'tseilo mikan v'chulya kayemes ma'u. So they ask him a question, and the Gemara is going to discuss in detail what they meant in the question, why they asked this question. The question is, you say that one rib and one vertebrae makes the animal treif. What about two ribs, but the vertebrae remains in place? Two ribs on both sides, but on both sides. That's included what we said already?
Yeah.
Maybe. How does that include one facing the other?
Martin said that. Martin said, doesn't matter what combination you have.
But I'm asking two. Just two ribs. Maybe two is worse than 12. Two because they're on opposite sides. Now the animal is missing a whole line of ribs.
11 and 1. 11 and 1 by definition means that it's two facing each other on each side.
How?
Because it's 11 on one
Yeah, but there's
side
12.
and 1 on the other side.
Very good. So the Gemara is going to ask that question. That's one of the Gemara's problems. So nekrot seila mikan betzela mikan v'chulyo kayemes ma'u. You don't have to come to 11 and 1, even 5 and 6. Whatever. Fine. Yeah, 6 and 6 is gonna, 1 is gonna be the opposite. Yeah. Nekrot seila mikan betzela mikan v'chulyo kayemes ma'u. Omar lehu. So Rav answered Rav Kahana Ravasi gisro kamritu. What you're telling me is the animal split in half. If the animal doesn't have ribs going through and through on opposite sides, then basically it's cut in half. And an animal that's cut in half is called a gisra. It's worse off than a treifa. It's an avela.
But the chuli is still there.
So no, but it still moves. So there's one on top, but the whole body is empty. The body doesn't have.
But we're talking about even one cella.
No, v'chulya kayemes.
One cella.
No, Rav Kahana asked the question about two tzlois.
One
Facing
from
each
here,
other.
One from here.
Right.
So
Says
another
Rav.
12.
Yeah, but if you have a gap here, this is missing.
Right. One is missing.
1 and 2, one facing each other. This one and this one are missing. So that now the animal has a big gap in there. The animal's going to fall apart. It's going to bend in half. That's called the gistra. And we learned.
It's going to bend in half.
It doesn't have a. I don't know. It's
Only one is missing.
It's one rib throughout the whole body.
Even if the spine is still intact.
Even if the spine is still intact. We learned that a gistra, I don't know if you remember,
It's
that pit.
just not attached here, right? I mean, it's still attached at the bottom.
No.
No, it's missing completely.
Missing.
It's gone. It came out. Surgery. Now, remember the picture of the saw chopping the animal in half? That's a gistra. The animal is a nevela even while it's alive. So this would make the animal a nevela, which is worse than a treifa. So Rav is saying, what are you talking about? Your case is worse than my case. I'm saying that it's a treifa when it's missing one rib. Your case of two ribs is worse off. It makes the animal an nevela. Says the Gemara, V'Rav nami gisra komar. Rav shouldn't be talking. He himself is saying a case of a gisra. Why? Because if you're missing one rib and the vertebrae, So what's the opposing rib holding on to? Nothing, thin air. So it's just as bad as missing two ribs. He's also missing two ribs because he's missing the chulya that's holding the rib. The rib does nothing. So the Gemara starts saying what he meant is that only one rib came off, but the vertebrae is in place. He said mefurish that the vertebrae is gone. Says the Gemara tzela v'chatzi chulya. So end of the story. What did Rav say? Bottom line, Rav said if the rib is missing, one rib is missing with any part of the chulya came off with it, the joint, whatever that holds onto the rib came off, that makes it a treifa. Now, it's not a gistera, it's not an animal split in half because this animal still has part of the vertebrae intact. So Mela, and it has one rib and half of a vertebrae or 3/4 of the vertebrae, whatever it is, that's enough not to make it a gistera, it's not an Mela, but it is a treifa. Says Gemara, Rav Kahana v'Ravasi tzela b'lo chuya amris. Very interesting Gemara. The Gemara wants to understand what was Rav Kahana and Rav Asi's question here. They obviously asked Rav a question. Tzela b'lo chuya. They weren't talking about when the chuya is missing because Rav says that if little part of the chuya is missing, it's treif. So obviously they wouldn't ask him what if two tzlois are missing with a little part of the chuya, because then that's obvious that if he's saying one tzela with a little bit of vertebrae makes it a treifa, certainly two with a little bit of vertebrae is treifa. So what was their question? Where the chulya is intact. You say one when the chulya is broken, I'm asking you two when the chulya is intact. What's the halacha?
What was that? They don't say that. That's the lashon what they
I
say.
know. I had that problem. But we're going through the flow and what they were thinking. V'amalahu gistra kamritu. And then he asked them, he said, what kind of question is two? Two, you're making it into a gistra. You can just cut the animal in half, even if the chulya is intact. V'amar ulo, ben Zakkai Omar, nekru b'roiv tzad echad. Now, this is Noam's question. Ula says, in the name of Ben Zakkai, that if nekru b'roiv tzad echad, you have either they were uprooted completely from one side, or nishtabru b'roiv shnei tzdadim, you had 6 and 6 on both sides. So you see that, what do you mean? It's a gistera. You have 6 and 6, but only in that case. Oh my lord, so I'll tell you, hasam zeh shalei keneged zeh. Maybe they're not facing each other. They're ribs, 6 on this side, 6 on the other side, but they're not facing each other. If you have 6 and 6, then it's impossible. If there's only 11 on each side, so 6 and 6 on each side, one is going to be opposite of the other. And Memela, how could you say that even one makes it treif? We're saying you need roiv together. You need a roiv on both sides. Says the Gemara, Hasam, Buchna beloy asisa. The word buchna, the article translates as pestle and a mortar. Basically, this picture right here, this is a pestle and a mortar.
Pestle.
What?
The T is silent.
Pestle.
Pestle, sorry. Ishkoyach. Amerikanish. Nebra. So pestle and a mortar. So it's like a bone in pestle. In England they say pestle. Derech Agav.
No, they don't.
Oh,
No. Pestle is a small pest. You know pestle can be a pest.
I could explain to you what a pistol is.
Pestle and a mortar. But you see how it fits in. So we're talking, basically all the Gemara is saying is, one is the tzela, this is the chulya, this is the tzela. The tzela is in, but the chulya is intact. Buchna beloy asiso. Hacha, Rav Kahana's question was Buchna ve'asiso. So, if Rav Kahana was asking a question about removing the tzela, the rib, together with a little bit of the vertebrae, Hachi hainu de Rav. That's the same exact question. Now, Tosfos points out it's not the same exact question. If you want to see Tosfos real quickly, Yachi Hani the Rav, Lav the Rav Mamish, They the Rav Lav Gisterahi. They were asking a worse question. They were saying that it makes the animal in half. Do you have a Gister or Nevela? Fine, they could have figured it out from Rav. That's the Gemara's question. Not that it's exactly like Rav's Allah. Fine.
Why? But it's not, because Rav said that a half a chulya was broken with.
Yeah, and it makes it a treifa, and they're asking two with a broken rib, with a broken chulya.
All the way.
Two ribs.
The vertebrae has in the middle, right, the circle where the spine cord goes.
Yeah.
Right? And then it has the two sides where it connects.
Yeah, and Rav said even the two sides that are connected, if the little piece is missing, that makes it a treif.
It says chetzi chulya. Chetzi chulya means the chura.
No. Chetzi, everybody says right away on the spot, chetzi doesn't mean chetzi. It means any part of it. It's lav davka chetzi. Says the Gemara, Lo shmilu the Rav. They asked him, they didn't hear the question. They never knew what Rav said. They didn't hear his halacha. So they asked him a question without knowing what Rav holds. As the Gemara, if that's the case, if they didn't hear what Rav said al halacha, one rib with a little bit of the vertebrae makes it treif. They didn't hear. So what did they ask him? They asked him, what's the halacha with two ribs missing? Why would they jump to two ribs? They should have asked him, what's the halacha if one rib is missing? If you didn't hear what Rav said, then your question doesn't make so much sense. Why would you jump to two? Maybe you should ask, what about five? Why did you come up with the number two? Says the Gemara, let me just say this outside. It's very nice. It's not that difficult. It's pretty easy. I just want to make sure everybody understands. There's basically three options. Either everything is kosher, one rib and two ribs is kosher, or one and two ribs is treif. Even one rib is treif, certainly two ribs is treif. Or even two ribs is kosher, certainly one rib is kosher. Or one rib is kosher, but two ribs is treif. Yeah, it's not very confusing, is it?
Not at all.
Not too many permutations.
What? No? Again? Again. Either one rib is kosher and two ribs is kosher. One rib missing is kosher. Two ribs missing is kosher, or one rib missing is treif. So of course, two ribs missing is treif. Or there's two halachas. One rib is kosher, but two ribs missing is treif. Those are the three options here. You don't know any halachas. You don't know any of this. You don't know if one is kosher, one is treif. Two is kosher, two is treif. So what do you ask? You're going to ask. It's a riddle. You have to ask one question and get both answers. Three answers. Figure everything out. What do? Says the Gemara, you ask, what's the halacha in two? And he's going to tell you. He could tell it to you in two ways. He could say, two is kosher, two is treif, let's say. Let's say he says two is treif. Or he could say, two is treif, what's wrong with you? Two is treif. So if he says two is treif, what's wrong with you? Then you know that one is treif. From the way he's answering you, it's a riddle. It's just a nice riddle. You can ask in your Shabbos table. How do you ask one question and get all the answers? Okay, let's see it inside. What?
You do the same thing with the kosher.
Oh, that's Tosfos kasha. What could he do? So let's see it inside first before we confuse everybody. Tosfos and Rashi discuss what you asked. Says the Gemara, they should have asked about one. Savri, the partial tarte. They held, we could ask one question and we'll get both answers. If we only ask one question, if we ask about one rib missing, it'll be great if Rav answered one rib missing is treif, and Memela I would understand automatically that two ribs missing is also treif. Kolchkein tarte. But if he answers it's kosher, we're stuck. We won't know what happens with two. I'll still have a question with two. Says Gemara, so okay, so what did they gain? They asked about two. Depends what the answer is. If he answered that it's kosher, then I would know if two is kosher, certainly one is kosher. But the problem is, but if he says two is treif, they'll be stuck. They won't know what the halach is with one. Says the Gemara, Savri imkein mirtach karotach. But if they ask them about two, and he screams at them, he says, "What are you asking me such a crazy question? Two, of course, is treif." I would learn from that one is treif, because he yelled at them. He says, "Two is treif. What's wrong with you? Don't you know one is treif? One is treif, and certainly two is treif." We did. I don't remember. It's a nice riddle.
So the vote is that it was an Eloshon, that he was angry.
They're gonna, when they knew that he's gonna answer in an angry way if they asked a question that's not very smart. Two is Rebbe, is two treif? Of course two is treif, because one is treif, so certainly two is treif. So ask Rashi and Tosfos and Noam. So why couldn't they just ask, is one kosher? And he would have yelled at them, of course one is kosher, because two is kosher. The answer is that you don't get mad at somebody when he wants to be machmer. He said, is one kosher? Yeah, two is kosher, but I want to know, maybe I could be machmer on one. But if you want to be matrif something, you want to say that something is kosher when it's treif, that's a problem. You want to be machmer, fine. What are you talking about? We have the machmirim all over the place. I don't know. What do you... Okay, that's it. We're done with that sugya. New sugya. Nekrot seila. Oh, sorry. At the end of the day, their plan didn't work. The riddle didn't work because they asked them a kasha that's not so smart. He asked them about two, and he didn't yell at them. So the Gemara, of course, he yelled at them. Given the karmelu gister karmelu to haner ischai. He did say it in a not nasty way. So what are you talking about? It's a gistera. You crazy? Two is terrible. Zog the Gemara, Amarav Shila Amarav Mas Nomer Shmuel Nekrot Tzekara. Now he comes to be mechulik. If only a rib was removed, but the vertebrae is in place, intact, Vigolgoyla Shenech B'Sabaruba, or this is really bad. If it happens to somebody, it's really, really not a good situation. The entire skull is crushed. I don't know how this animal is walking around. We had the other day this whole sugya. We're going to go into a little bit where the muscle around the keres, most of it, the Gemara is going to explain what rubai means, either cut or removed, makes the animal treif. Nekrot seila mikara treifa. If one rib was removed from its place, it's treifa, as the Gemara verminu. We're talking about a dead person, a human. How much, if it has its entire skeleton, how much of it is missing from the skeleton and it's not metam anymore? Ba'oil. Just the spine, not skeleton, the spine. You have to have two vertebrae missing. One vertebrae is enough. And now this is the same Shmuel that we just said a second ago. Shmuel is the one that says one rib missing makes it a treifa. Over here, Omer Rav Yehuda, Omer Shmuel, in the name of Shmuel, v'chein l'treifa. This halacha applies to a treifa that you need two vertebrae missing, or one vertebrae, but you need a vertebrae, not a rib. Says the Gemara, Hachat tzela b'loy chulyo, hasam chulyo b'loy tzela. There's two halachas. Either a rib is missing or a vertebrae is missing. When we're talking about a mace over, we're just talking about the vertebrae. We're not talking about the ribs. And Shmuel was talking about just ribs. I can understand how a rib breaks off and the vertebrae remains intact. Great. Where do you have a situation where the vertebrae breaks off but the rib doesn't? What good is a rib? Says the Gemara. B'shilei kafle, at the end of the spine, there's a lot of these guys. There's only 13 ribs. But what happens to the rest of the animal? Past the ribs. Past the ribs, there's no ribs, but there's chulias. So here, one of these broke off without affecting any of the ribs, because there is no rib there. There's a Mishnah in Edius that describes all the kulas of Beis Shammai. And it should say this as a kula that what? It's not treif until you need 2 chulyos. But until that, then it's okay. So it's a kula, big kula. It's not treif. Yes, this halacha could be also applied to treif, but it was said by tuma. The habalu beishamai lechumra. Over there, beishamai say it still gives it off tuma until you remove 2 chulyos. So that's a chumra. And you have a skull that's crushed. Most of it is crushed. Roiv gava oi roiv keifa. Is it talking about the height or the width? So Rashi only explains what the height is. This is Rashi. This is taken from the article with permission from the heart. One time. This is the roiv from the eyes till the top. That's roiv gova. What is roiv hekeifa? There's a few pshatim in Rashi. Either it means from side to side. The Bes Yosef and others learn it means going around the entire head. At this point, but around the whole head. That's how you need roiv of that in order to create a treifa. 5 minutes. That's all we need for Amud Beis every day. Ubasar achoyves roiv akaris berubay. Boy Ravashi. Beroiv karua. Is this roiv ripped? Or beroiv notol? Is the muscle removed completely or the muscle is torn? Tishalei midisnan, I could bring you a raya. It says keres apnimis shenikva oy shenikra. This is the key word. It says mefurish it was ripped. Roiv hachitzoyno. I don't know if you remember from yesterday. From when was it? 2 days ago when we learned the sugya. There was a few pshatim over there. Is it the keres meaning the part that the wolf hates, or is the part that goes downwards, or the part with no hair? Different pshatim. One shot was kol hakeres kulo izui keres apnimi. The whole innard is considered keres. So if that's the case, what's the outer one? And it says mefurish nikra. So you see that it's torn, not removed. As the Gemara midu time el Shmuel. We're trying to figure out what does Shmuel hold. And over there in that sugya, he didn't say this pshat. He said a different pshat. Mokim shein bo melas. He was the one that said it's talking about here. So what do you bring me a right to Shmuel from a different pshat of keres pnimi, keres chitzoni, when Shmuel himself said a completely different pshat in keres. Keres is talking about the pnimi is talking about the place where there's no wool, removed with hot water, etc. Fine. Drusas hazev. No raya. Drusas hazev. Now, the Mishnah understands that animals in those days have the ability to claw another animal and inject a venom into the animal. How does that work in our days? Not exactly sure. There's a lot of talk about it. I did look a little bit into it online, etc. Even cats today have something called what's called a cat scratch that could be fatal. Basically, there's bacteria. Cats walk around in a lot of garbage. They have a lot of stuff in their claws. They could fatal. Does it fit in with the Gemara or not? I don't know. I'm happy with that. To me, it makes sense that animals in the claws they could kill. A guy in Koil yesterday told me that he rescues birds all the time. But if a bird was caught by a cat, clawed by a cat, he never had success with a bird like that. They always died. That they died from what we know today is bacteria usually. In those days, they called it venom. But is it a physical venom sac? I don't know if that's what the Gemara meant. There is some indication here that the Gemara did understand that it's physical venom sac, that you could actually see it come out and it leaves a mark on the door or whatever. But
also the Gemara says that it comes out only when it pulls out its nails, not when it puts it in. So that's also the Torah mashma that is real venom.
Okay, so each one take what you know. What do we say that that's how they understood in those days? They didn't know about bacteria. I don't know. I'll go upon him. Rabbi Yoel Dessler says in the Levi Yo, it's brought down in the Sichas Chullin. He's a very long arichas about this, and he just says that even if we think that we know different and today's science shows different, but the halacha remains the same, obviously, and they had other reasons and other things, and it doesn't disturb what we know today. I'll go upon them.
It's parasites as well, like for example, a tick bite can give a person 20 different sicknesses.
Those are tick bites, but it makes a lot of sense that a cat that walks on the ground always, he doesn't clean his things, and as soon as he takes out his paws come out and he goes into the animal, he can inject some sort of bacteria, etc. Look online, you'll see it's a big thing. Cat scratch, it's called. Zog the Gemara. So it says in the Mishnah, Udrusas hazev, Omer Rav Yehuda Marav, bebehema min hazev ulamala. When it's talking about a larger animal, you need something as large as a wolf and bigger. In other words, like a lion, a bear, something large that its poison, its claws will kill the animal. U'ba'oifos min haneitz ulamala. Nates, the art scroll brings down that it's either a falcon or a hawk. There's a falcon right over here, and this is a hawk, and there's different types of hawk. This is a great picture. I don't even know if it's a picture, but look at the fear in this guy's face. It's like, oh, I think it's over. His mouth is wide open. You see that mouth? It's incredible. I thought it was a great picture. Anyways, in my backyard in Chicago, we had, I forgot what it was called. Was it hawks? What do they have in Chicago?
Eagle.
No. It was it would come down every once in a while. So just swoop up a bird and just eat it in my backyard. They have them a lot in Chicago. They're huge birds, not an eagle. It might have been a hawk. What was it called? I think it was a hawk.
Cat.
No.
Flying cat.
They'll just come down. They easily catch a bird. They were very, very fast flyers. They're about this tall. What are they called? No. No, real. They loved pigeons. They'll take out a pigeon in a second. But they wouldn't come every day. It was the same, I think it was the same bird, and it would come like once a week. It would let the birds get used to it again, and then just swoop right down, grab anything you wanted. Okay, and then eat it on the fence. Put it on the fence, pick out its feathers. Okay, yeah. Drusas, this is a drusa of a bird. Zog Gemara. So what is Rav Yehuda adding that we don't even have in the Mishnah? Which in the Mishnah basically it's the same words. It says Gemara is coming to exclude a cat, that a cat cannot make an animal a treifa. Tanino drusas hazev. That says in the Mishnah it has to be a wolf. Maybe the Mishnah is just saying a wolf to say that it could. Even a small wolf compared to a cow could kill a cow. But Rav is coming to say, Rav is adding, but not lafuke a cat. Votnan. In the Mishnah it says, Rabbi Yehuda, Imed Drusa sazev bidako, udrusa sari begaso. So, l'chayra, Rabbi Yehuda is coming to explain the Tanakama. So then there's no chidush in what Rav is saying. Maybe Rabbi Yehuda in the Mishnah that says it's talking about a wolf. So maybe Rabbi Yehuda is mechulak on the Tanakama, and therefore Rav is coming to add and not a cat. Wait a minute, he's not coming to argue. He's coming to explain. So Gemara says no, there's no raya that he's not arguing. He's coming to explain. Just because Rabbi Yom Bar Yefes says it, Gabra Karamis. Maybe Rav holds that he's not coming to explain, that he's coming to be mechulik, and Mamela Rav had to add, but not a cat. No, Rav is coming to exclude a cat. The reason why the Mishnah brings a case of a wolf is because that's normal for a wolf to attack, and it's not to exclude a cat. And Mamela, he came to say no. You're right, that's normal, but I'm saying, but not a cat. Dafka, not a cat. Kamash Malan. Omer Rav Amor Rav. Omer Rav Chizda. Drusas chatul v'nemiya bigdiim utloim. So you have one last picture. This is an emiyah, or something similar. This is a mongoose. After I printed it, I saw that I thought that was an emiyah, but the art scroll translated as a marten. And I had a picture over here somewhere, a cool picture. Oh. It's a very cute animal, and when I learned in Yeshiktan and Tifrach, they used to tell me, I never saw it, they said that an emiyah got into the chicken cage and killed a ton of chickens, but then everything becomes a treifa because you don't know what it hit, not. But I've never seen this emiyah. But I think you could see these guys sometimes crossing the highway or something. I don't know, something similar. Mongoose. Okay, so they have them in Eretz Yisrael. Agaponim, this. It causes a drusa where b'gdoy mutloim. Rashi on Amud Aleph and Nun Gimel Amud Aleph says very, very small, dakim ma'oid. In other words, we just were saying that a chatul cannot attack a cow, but a chatul could attack the smallest of the smallest sheep and goats, because they're so small, they're like similar to its size. Mela will cause a drusa in that. It says that it doesn't have power in its claw. It only has power. We're finished. It only has power when it gets to the inside. Avadrusa leslu. V'tizbir. So the Gemara says, wait a minute. V'tizbir nates loidaris. But now v'drusa sanates. Holikasha can boivis can be gedoy with loy. At the end of the day, Rav Chizda says that it could chatul could hit it with its nails without opening it up, and over in the Brisa says it has to get to the innards. Whoa! So maybe we should just stop here and finish. Okay, have a great Shabbos, Motzei Shabbos, 7 o'clock, Be'ezer Hashem. We'll try to catch.